Gyuval, welcome back to the channel. My name is David. Today, we're going to be talking about my absolute favorite lens ever, which is the Nikon Z 135mm f1.8s Plena. Say that fast 5 times because my God, that's a long name. Now, I did pick this lens over the 70-200 lens because I prefer having the 1.8 aperture since I do shoot in a lot of dimly lit situations and that 1.8 just comes in handy. And as always with my reviews, we're gonna be talking about things like build quality, autofocus performance, and image quality. And lastly, I just wanna say Nikon did not sponsor me in any shape, way, or form. I bought all the equipment shown in this video with my hard-earned money, and my wallet is still going to therapy because it went through a lot of traumatic experiences last year. So with that said, let's just jump into the video with build quality. The first thing I noticed about this lens is how surprisingly light it is considering it's an f1.8 and has all that glass inside. Despite the lightweight feel, the lens feels incredibly well made and durable. It uses a combination of metal and high quality plastics with a metal lens mount. The lens is also fully weather sealed, so you have peace of mind when using it in harsh weather conditions. It also features a programmable control ring that can be used to change a variety of settings like ISO, aperture, and so on. On the side of the lens, you see a AF/MF switch to toggle on manual focus and autofocus, and a programmable function button, which can be customized like the control ring for various settings. At the front of the lens, there is a rubberized focus ring, which is easy to grip and well dampened. The front filter is 82mm, and the lens comes with a big plastic lens hood. Overall, this lens feels plenty good. You see what I did there? Yeah, I should be a comedian, man. I'm just dropping like these really fire jokes. All right, moving on. The dual STM stepping motors in this lens deliver stupid fast autofocus performance when paired with the Nikon Z8. The lens autofocus is also very quiet and smooth, making it great for video work. I can easily trust the lens to deliver accurate autofocus in both photo and video applications. Even though the lens is a 135mm, it feels like I'm using an 85mm lens thanks to the minimum focus distance of 82 centimeters or 2.7 feet. This enables me to be a bit closer to my subjects and still acquire focus where other telephoto lenses would struggle. Now, there is one issue I ran into during my extensive use with the lens. Sometimes the lens would focus to infinity and then take a second to reacquire focus. This would mostly happen in video mode, and only when I had the camera slinged around my body and then would bring it up to my face to start recording video. Now, I do have continuous autofocus enabled on the Z8, and the camera is constantly focusing wherever I point the lens, which when it's slinged over my shoulder, sometimes is the floor. So is it user error? Yes, maybe. Is it a deal breaker? No, it's just an annoyance. However, I did want to bring it up in case it might be something that could be corrected via firmware updates later on. The images this lens produces are incredible. Every time I use this lens, I get blown away by how good the results are, even if the subject matter isn't the most interesting. Images are tack sharp, wide open at 1.8 and have a clinical look to them, which is on trend with most modern day lenses. However, the lens does have character thanks to the rounded 11-blade aperture, which produces round bokeh from corner to corner, giving the images a dreamy look. In harsh lighting conditions, the Arneo and nano crystal coatings work in tandem to control chromatic aberrations to prevent things like ghosting, reflections, and flaring. I often shoot this lens in DX mode on the Z8, increasing the focal length to 200mm. And even at the reduced 20-megapixel resolution, images are still full of life and detail, making this lens very versatile for my needs. Well, that's the end of the review part. Now, let me share my thoughts with you. So aside from the autofocus issue I mentioned earlier when shooting video, I really can't give this lens any like knocks or dock points or whatever because it is a really good lens. Now, if I were to knock this lens in any category or dock points, if you will, it would be the price. This lens comes in at $2,500. That's $500 more than the Sony and Canon variations of this focal length. which, you know, can I justify the price because I'm a working professional? Yes, I have made the money back over the last 8 months, but $2,500 is a lot of money for a very niche focal length that may not be the best lens for your kit. And especially if you're just starting out or you need something a bit more versatile, I would probably go with like a 70-200 or the Nikon 70-180, which is like half the price of this lens, or the Tamron 35-150 2-2.8. I think those 3 zoom lenses would probably be better for most folks, especially if you're a beginner or if you're, you know, doing a lot more things like events or, you know, sports or something like that, where you just need a little bit more reach and the flexibility of a zoom. However, if you are a working professional, I highly do recommend this lens, especially if you plan to shoot a lot of portraiture or live events like music like I do. And if that's the case, then the 135mm has Plena things to offer you. Well, that's kind of like it, I guess. Thank you guys so much for watching today's video. If you found it helpful, give it a thumbs up. If you didn't, double tap the dislike button twice. Trust me, it works. And subscribe to the channel if you haven't done so already. I will see you in the next video. Hasta luego.